I just want to explain to you how humiliating the last month has been for Israel militarily. Just to recap, okay? We've had drones going and picking up God knows how many hours of footage from the most sensitive Israeli sites. So the first drone was from Hezbollah. They went and recorded the port in Haifa. They recorded all the petrochemical storage facilities. So basically, this was a message to the Israelis that we know where all your economic sites are located and we can strike them. If you can't see our surveillance drone, you won't see the attack drone either. Okay, so that was number one. It was Hezbollah telling the Israelis, we can see your economic sites, right? So that was about, I think it was 18th of June. 18th of June, okay? So just over a month ago. Then the second episode, they released the second one. They flew a drone over the Golan Heights. So the Golan Heights are in Syria, okay? Okay, so first of all, this is Haifa. That was episode 1, right? Here. And they flew over a bunch of air bases as well and airstrips. So it was both economic and military. Episode 2, they went up here to the Golan Heights and they filmed Israel's most sensitive spy base, which is located at an altitude of 2,000 meters on top of Jebel el-Sheikh or Mount Hermon, okay? All of this stuff as a message to the Israelis. Like, we can see your spy bases, your economic, the most important parts of your economy, the air bases, your missile production sites, every single thing, the airstrips. Now they release part 3. It's an RAF airbase, actually. It used to be part of the Royal Air Force in Palestine. This is another 8-minute video. They're just casually filming. The Israelis have no clue. This is also a message to Netanyahu right now while he's in the US. He's like, we can get you and we'll do it even when you're out of the country, take you out by surprise extra, even more. So that's Hezbollah. That's more on the surveillance side, okay? Now Yemen took it to another level, okay? Yemen struck Tel Aviv also with an undetectable drone. And the embarrassing thing is that after they struck Tel Aviv, the Israelis were on high alert, right? And they went and did it again a second time, 6 hours later. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. So do you see how the Israelis, their Iron Dome, I mean, it's completely useless. Forget about that. Now, I'm talking about their radar systems, about their early reconnaissance, their early warning and their reconnaissance systems. All of it has either been shut down or doesn't work. So just imagine if these people are stupid enough to start an actual war with Hezbollah. I mean, they will wipe out the country in 24 hours. And that's not me saying that, that's an Israeli military official saying that. Man, I believe them. I mean, look, we can speculate, but this proves it. This footage shows you the Israelis, they have no clue what's going on. And this was filmed yesterday, by the way, this clip with the Ramat David Air Base, okay? Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And it's funny because when the Yemenis struck the USS Eisenhower, which is like, a crown jewel of the United States Navy, they were denying it in the press. Jesus, look, let me just show you. Let me show you. If you type a USS Eisenhower and Yemen, you'll come up with a million headlines. Look, it's saying, oh, it's false claims. See, look, that's the first one. False Houthi claims, right? Houthis say they launched attack. US denies. Disinformation campaign. US denies, right? False claim. So they want to put this idea in your head that it didn't happen. And what is their source? The US Navy. I mean, it doesn't get more state media than that. You're not supposed to ask the US Navy, you idiot, because the US Navy are going to deny it. Obviously. You know why? Because it's embarrassing. So you have to find out another way, okay? You have to dig. You have to look what's going on. Well, the captain of the ship, the captain, what was he doing at the time? He posts a video, an old video, where he's filming the whole deck and posting that, taking that from Instagram, posting it on Twitter. Why would you do that? You would do that to fool people into thinking that the deck is fine when you're actually trying to cover it up. Now, if the Yemenis can hit Tel Aviv 2 times in the same day with an undetectable drone, you really think they can't hit the USS Eisenhower? These people that are writing these articles are trash. They're morons. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't understand the Middle East. They don't understand the weapons that are being used. They are living in the 20th century. They are in denial. They cannot accept that the United States is not a military power anymore. They cannot accept that their carriers are crap. They cannot accept that the Israelis got owned on October 7th. Their defenses didn't work. Their intelligence didn't work. And every single day since then, they've been getting hammered in Gaza. They're getting hammered in the north by Hezbollah. They're getting hammered by the Yemenis. Even economically, just look at the siege the Yemenis have imposed on them. So we're living in a new military and political era. And these dinosaurs are still stuck writing this garbage. How can you write this garbage? It's amazing. It's amazing. I just wanted to drive this point home. We have, in the span of a month, Hezbollah infiltrating the top spy bases that the Israelis have, their top, air force and airstrips, their top air force and military and naval sites, their economic sites, their military, so their armaments production sites, every single thing, and filming it, not for 1 minute, 10 minutes. That's just what they released. Who knows how much they filmed? So that's tons and tons and tons of intelligence. And they know what every single thing is. They're even pointing it out in the video. They've gathered so much intelligence, it's amazing. And then we've got the Yemenis going and hitting Tel Aviv twice. I mean, the funny thing is, it's reminiscent, for me at least. If you look at the way the Yemenis did this, they didn't just go from, they didn't go in a straight line to Palestine, to Tel Aviv is called Jaffa originally, right? That's what they named the drone after. But you see what the distance is? It's 2,000 kilometers, right? So they didn't go in a straight line. What they did is they went over Sudan, they went over Egypt, okay? I'm just drawing a very rough thing here. I'm just doing it live in front of you. They went like this, and they came in from the west. Because the Israelis, they didn't expect the Yemenis to have such a drone. Number one, biggest mistake, underestimating the enemy or the adversary. And then intelligence mistake, right? They made an intelligence mistake. So they knew that there was an assessment mistake, an analysis mistake. They saw the drone, they claimed they saw the drone, but they didn't know what it was, and they didn't do anything. See, if that's true, if that's true, that further proves the point that this worked, because by coming in from the Mediterranean Sea, from the west, okay, by coming in from this direction instead of coming from the south, the Israelis had no idea that this was going to be a Yemeni drone. They're not looking to the Mediterranean. Why on earth would a Yemeni drone come from the Mediterranean, right? That's why a Yemeni drone came exactly from the Mediterranean, because they're not expecting it. Beautiful. I mean, just the idea of it is just beautiful. And it reminded me of Singapore. It reminded me of Singapore and the Japanese invasion. Okay, you see Singapore down here? So when the Japanese were about to invade, the British army thought that they're going to come from the sea and they're going to come from the south, right? That's the logical thing. Because from here, up here, this is all jungle. You can't go through that easily. You can't bring tanks through that. So they thought. It's hard to march troops through there, so they thought. And it turns out the Japanese the infantry are on bicycles. And their tanks can go through the jungle. And they did come from the north, and they didn't come from the sea. And they overran Singapore, and it was the biggest humiliation of the British army in its, I mean, throughout the entire history of the British Army. Biggest humiliation. Biggest humiliation. So, you know, you have a similar thing taking place right now, you know, as an analogy, where you have a so-called military power, right, that is undefeatable, that is insurmountable, that is incontestable, suddenly being taken out and blindsided, literally blindsided by a so-called inferior or weaker force. Well, guess what? They're not weaker anymore, are they? If they can do that to you, they can do it any day. It's over. It's over. You know, really, I'm telling you, man, I've never been more convinced of, you know, the demise of the Zionist occupation and the American occupation more than now. It's crazy. You know, every metric that you look at, even just, you know, the soft power, where you look at their image internationally, destroyed. Never mind their economy, never mind their military. I mean, it's a joke. It's a joke. They're so screwed. They just, if the media were more honest, you would get a fuller picture. You would get a more complete picture of what's going on. But they're not going to do that because it's too embarrassing, right? They're still trying to hang on to bits and scraps, and it's all downhill from here on for them. I'm telling you that. I'm telling you that. And imagine this is just a taste. It's a little appetizer. This is not even, we haven't even begun to serve the meal, all right? There are cooks in the kitchen right now preparing stuff that I don't even know, right? No one knows. It's going to take us all by surprise. The same way that October 7th took us all by surprise. I mean, who the hell thought of paragliders? You know, it's ingenious. It's ingenious. And this is the thing, is that taking people by surprise, I mean, this is the number one asset that you can do in any conflict, in any war, never mind you know, war of national liberation. And so what's going to happen is that it's not just the new weapons that we're going to see being used, it's also the way that we see conventional weapons being used in that is going to be also new and you know, very novel. The Israelis are afraid of that, especially when it comes to Hezbollah. They don't know what arsenal they have. They're trying to guess and find out the whole time and provoke them into revealing it. But I don't think it's going to work. And I'll tell you also one more thing. The Yemenis produced this drone locally. No one gave it to them. That's even more crazy. I think that's crazier than the fact they hit Tel Aviv, right? So despite all the difficulties, they managed to produce that. Amazing. You know, need is the mother of invention, right? So we're living in very, very interesting times. Very, very interesting times. Everything, the whole world is shifting right now. I never thought we would see things like this. And as I was saying with Pepe Escobar earlier, to see both the United States and Israel declining at once, well, I mean, I guess it makes sense because they go hand in hand, but nevertheless, it's happening at such a rapid pace. And the fact that Biden is, you know, his brain has melted, and also Netanyahu coming and you know, giving this stupid speech and being as hated as he is, and doing it without any vice president, any secretary of state, without any president behind him or with him. I mean, it's so emblematic of where Israel is headed. Just isolation and you know, decline. That's where it's all going. Incredible, really. Again, YouTube demonetized my channel because I'm not allowed to say naughty things about Israel. You know, telling the truth is forbidden. So if you are able to donate a few dollars on PayPal or on a monthly basis on Patreon, please consider doing it, because it would really help me continue my journalism and support independent media. So I'd be very grateful. And the links are in the description and also in the chat. Thank you guys very much again for all your donations and all your kind comments. I appreciate it very much.